Hey everyone, Model Man Frank here. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. Built the Japanese Zero. As you saw in my last video, I'm sorry I haven't been really good at updating models, builds very well. As you can see, the model is pretty much in its covered formed. I finished building the aircraft pretty much, almost. I'm still building it, I'm sorry. I haven't finished building it. When it's ready for first flight, that's when I'll be finished building it. Put in the battery tray, put in the servos. This kit went together pretty well as a build. If I had to do it again, I would build the formers. I would trace out the formers and build the skin of the plane out of foam board. Next one, I'm sure I'll do that. As a matter of fact, speaking of foam board, on the other table, I'm cutting out the ribs for the P-51 Mustang. All the plans also made by Tom Stryker, which you can get those plans on Outer Zone. As you're looking at the kit, as you're looking at the plane, you'll notice there's a very large servo. These are old Futaba servos. These are not the little mini servos that you buy on Amazon. These are full-size servos. A lot of people have stopped using them. I don't know why. These are like the best servos. These things, you can beat the pus out of them, and they still survive. This was in an airplane that was crashed by a friend of mine at the field. As a matter of fact, you saw the video. If you go back a couple of videos back in my series of videos, you'll see a Corsair that crashed. He crashed the Corsair. I took the servos out. I've got quite a little collection of servos, and I've been using these servos. And yes, you can use them on the Spectrum receiver. You just they have a little tab on them to be used only off the top of the receivers. I kind of carved that down so I can get it into the Spectrum receiver. It's got the Y plate for it. Again, this is a Bank and Yank aircraft. As you can see, here's the tail. It's all finished up. Still have a little bit of covering to do. It's got some little spots that are showing. I started covering it with olive drab and realized that, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but two different greens. You know what? It's covering, and I'm getting the plane covered, okay? So for all you diehards that are like, oh yeah, that's not period correct. You know what? When it's flying, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference. Be using an 1800 3-cell battery for this aircraft. This one's a 30 amp ESC, and the motor, like Spitfire, is also, this is a flight test motor. This one's 1180 kV, enough power for it. Gonna have a big prop for it, and I think this will do just fine. On the Spitfire, I used the same motor on the Spitfire, worked fine. Had a 10.6 prop on it. Again, perfect. It'll push the plane along. I glued the cowling. The cowling has to be painted black, but this is how the airplane will look once the cowling is done. I gotta put some little tabs here so I'm able to glue the cowling on. Next thing to do is to build a motor mount, which I'll be using 1/8 inch plywood, very thin plywood. Actually, I'm sorry, 3/16 inch plywood, not 1/8. That's too thick. Yeah, 3/16, like 5 millimeter plywood, less than that. Probably like, plywood's like maybe like 4 millimeters, 3 millimeter. And I'll make a motor mount out of that for this plane. The motor will sit out about a little farther, but that much. I think it'll work just fine. I ran the cabling for the servos. You can see, okay, servos are all done. This is tape that I built a stitch and glue kayak many years ago, and I've got a lot of fiberglass left over and I've been using this to strengthen the wings on, because when you're pulling the G's, you want your wings to really hold together, and this is really good stuff. There's a servo on each wing. I got one here. This is for the for the right side, and then you got another one here for the right side. These little holes, little story about those came out of termites. This kit sat in my parents' garage for a while. They had a bit of a termite problem, and this was back in Miami. Termites, basically got to the model. So, but all in all, this will be covered today. I'm going to cover the top of the wing first, and then I will cover the bottom and continue on. What I'm going to do is actually connect the plane to the fuselage, and then I'm not going to be opening it up anymore. So I got to drill the mounting hole for it. Canopy, already pretty much cut it up to size, and I just have to finish trimming it up. But this is how the canopy will look once the aircraft is put together, and it's looking good so far. Other than that, everything's going together well. I'll put out another build video once I have the motor mounted and the wings attached, so y'all can see that. And that's it for now. Model Man Frank out.